14. Let not your heart be troubled. Believe also me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself. That where I am, there ye may be also. And whither I go, ye know, and the way ye know.
It's about time, man, because I'm ready to go home. I'm ready to get the kingdom. I'm ready to live. I'm ready to breathe fresh. I'm ready to have beautiful, pure women, okay? Not no strawberry hollis on this side. I'm ready to have children, man, you can vibe with, okay? Be around brothers. Be around the Lord himself, okay? I'm ready to go and visit places in the galaxy that we didn't know exist. All right, I'm ready to walk on sandy beaches, man, and explore the ocean floors. I'm ready to fly, okay? I'm ready to eat real food, okay? I'm ready to drive a chariot, man. All right, I'm ready to minister to the Lord and to be ministered to, man. Okay, I'm ready to worship Yahweh Shai in its full entirety. Okay, I'm ready for it. We're ready, man. I'm ready to see angels and greet angels.
But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. But as it is written, eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit.
Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples for his younger brothers, and peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful that got there pushing this word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, pushing to get up out and shalom to the hopeful elect believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All right, and what I want to get into with this live stream, dealing with the usual suspects, the nation of Edom. Now, this term, the usual suspects, has been linked, to Jake on social media. When you look at, fighting on the cruise ship, okay, fighting in Walmart, with bunnies, pajamas, and flip flops, okay. When you look at, shootings at, basketball games and track meets, so forth and so on. When you look at, the things that our people do, which, Jake is a problem. Nigga culture, their whole culture, what our people call a culture, okay, which is a culture of confusion, violence, okay, self-destruction. It is a problem, and we call these things out. Okay, but what's above the problem of niggas is Edomites, okay? Because niggas are a byproduct, okay, of Edomite supremacy. Okay, you look at the behavior of our people, you can really go to our people becoming this destructive towards themselves, going back to the 80s when you had the crack epidemic, okay, which there was chemical warfare against Jake, okay, because they destroyed a lot of professional Jakes, okay, they broke up a lot of houses, okay. You had a generation of, you had a crisis where you had adults that wasn't able to function, okay. Now, who was the one behind it? Okay, because you go into, all right, the crack epidemic, which the CIA, okay, used the profits from crack to fund the war, all right, the proxy war against Russia and Nicaragua, okay, and many other things, you see. But at the end of the day, our people are a problem, and they have become destructive to themselves. And when you see particular things, the usual suspect, okay, idiom does fit them, okay. But above, all right, our people, above Jake doing what they do, where you have the Edomite doing what he does on a much larger scale. He's the usual suspect on a whole nother level, okay. And we're gonna get into some precepts, speak on some things. And this lesson was inspired by, a video done by, a video put up by the brother Yakwa, the Hopeful Elect 3. Okay, so let's get some precepts. Because first and foremost, when you look at, let's go here. In the Bible, will have a record of you devils. It gives a record, okay, of you Edomites, man. You see, we're able to pinpoint Esau in the earth by his conduct. In the Bible describes this man's conduct. Well, first, let's go to Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So wait a minute. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked, or the control of the wicked. Well, who runs the earth? Okay? So just by this devil running the earth, well, he fits the earth being given into the hand of the wicked. Then to go further, it said he covered the faces of the judges thereof. Did not he, all right, do iconoclasm? Okay, and destroy the dark images. Okay, when you go into the Bible, you see, go into the Most High, the Messiah, did he not put his face over the images of the true judges? Okay, which is the Most High, the Messiah, and the Israelites. Okay, if not, where and who is he? So the Bible pinpoints Esau through his action, his conduct. Okay, and even when you go, and the fact this is not a lot of things that he's doing. This is not his first time doing these things. So when you go into the problems of the planet Earth, well, you cannot leave out Esau because the earth is given to his hand. This is all happening under his watch. Okay, this is all happening under the watch of Esau Edom. Everything that we see, the niggas that people complain about, well, these niggas are a byproduct of Edomite ruling the earth, of Esau ruling the earth. Okay, I say our people, niggas and nigga cultures, are byproduct of Esau's rulership. Who funds the record labels? Who funds the media that pushes these movies and images to our people? Music videos. Okay, who's financing that? Okay, the prison industrial complex. Who's behind it? The same people that own the record labels own the prisons. Okay, who's behind it? So when you go into expressing the problems of the earth, which we talk about the byproduct of Esau Edom, but we can't go without talking about Esau Edom himself. Okay, so he covered the faces of the judges thereof, and wait, let's get another precept. He covered the faces of the judges thereof, and when you go here during the time of the Greeks, how did it describe Esau Edom? Okay, and you go into the time of the Greeks. Let's get this in First Maccabees. It's the book of First Maccabees 1:1. It says, and it happened after Alexander, the son of Philip. Now, don't a lot of people, a lot of Edomites, like the hurrah Alexander is the beginning of civilization, the Greeks. Okay, let's see. Let's see what people say. Yeah. Real quick. Yeah, when you go into all right, Western civilization, okay, people these Edomites say, Western civilization is rooted in the Greek Empire, which it is. Okay? So here it is, they claim that Western civilization is rooted, in the Greek Empire. It began with Greek, Westernization began with the Greeks. That's why people that were Hellenized, they were just the earliest form of Westernization. These days, we've been Westernized under the same people. All right, these Greco-Romans, man, these Edomites. Okay, but through the spirit and power, Yahweh Shem Shai is a remnant. Okay, that's been extrapolated out of it, man. And separated for salvation. Okay, but going back into it, First Maccabees 1:1, it says, and it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, the king of the Persians and the Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece, and made many wars and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up. So the Lord, all right, during the time, it was time for the leopard, okay, the beast, one of the beasts in Daniel 7 chapter, okay, in Daniel chapter 7, it was time for that leopard to come into power, which was the Greeks under Alexander. Okay, or the he goat in Daniel the 8th chapter. Okay, it was time for the rulership of the Greeks. So the Lord allowed, all right, the Greeks under Alexander to dominate the known world and become an empire. Okay, the small kingdom of Macedonia became an empire. Okay, it says, and went through the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted and his heart was lifted up, that pride. And it shows you that every time these devils get in power, they get proud. Okay? And it says, he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. And after these things, he fell sick and perceived that he should die. Wherefore, and he was known as a boy lover. Okay, one of your icons, your icons. Okay, a lot of Edomite icons, people that you have to uh, study and learn about in school. Okay, the forefathers Edom. A lot of these people, a lot of these men, were boy lovers, pedos, freaks, Satanists. Okay, the upper echelon of Edom is real dark. Okay, wherefore he called his servants such as were honorable and had been brought up with him from his youth and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. Yeah, because he parted the kingdom, amongst his generals. They fought over him. Eventually you had, 4, all right, dynasties that will come out of, the Greek Empire. To come after the death of Alexander, you have 4, all right, dynasties. Okay, that would emerge. Cassandra, the Ptolemies, Lysimachus, and the Seleucid. Okay, empire. And this is how they carved up, Alexander's, kingdom after he died. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died, and his servants bare rule, every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves. So did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. And evils were multiplied in the earth. Okay, so Esau's rulership is linked to evils being multiplied, wickedness being multiplied. Okay, and all the wickedness that's happening in the earth is under the umbrella of the wickedness of Esau Edom. Okay, I say nigger culture, drill culture is nothing but a byproduct of Edomite culture. Okay? Esau does these things on a global scale. Niggas do these things domestically. Okay? Esau does these things on a much global scale. You see? And what he's doing is causing, niggas will bring down the property value. But Esau, he stops the earth from functioning properly, man. You see, niggas will, make you not want to go to, your favorite wing place anymore. Okay? But this nigga makes it to where, all right, the earth doesn't have enough water. Okay? Forever chemicals and everything. You see? Pesticides. The earth doesn't, the fruit doesn't have the nutrients that it once had decades ago because the nutrients are through. Okay? So yeah, niggas are a problem. But the bigger problem is you Edomites, man. And you're the usual suspect for way more heinous crimes, all right, than niggas, man. You see? So going back, let's go here. And all throughout the scriptures, you Edomites are the usual suspect. Go back to here. Let's go to Malachi. Okay? Oh, matter of fact, because he covered the faces of the judges thereof. Right? And Job, well, during the time of the Greeks, let's go back to the same book. Let's go to the 3rd chapter. Okay? Let's go to Maccabees 3. Just to make this point. Maccabees 3 and 48. First Maccabees 3 and 48. It says, and laid open. All right, First Maccabees 3 and 48. It says, and laid open, these are the Greeks, and laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen sought to paint the likeness of their images. So he covered the faces of the judges back then as the Greeks. And then you go into which those were Hamites. Okay, but you go into what they did to Egypt. They destroyed those statues, particular things in Egypt because they had them noses. Which I say they was Hamites. Those images of Hamites. You see, but they just had certain features. You see, that Esau, that didn't associate with Esau, and they destroyed that. But ultimately, his biggest crime and the biggest indicator that he is the wicked is him painting himself to be the Most High, the Messiah, okay, the Israelites, the prophets. Okay, that's what links him to Job 9 and 24. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. And then we have a historical account in the book of Maccabees, okay, wherein the heathen, okay, you Greeks, you Edomites, had sought to paint the likeness of their image. Okay? So we have these records, okay, that paint a picture of who the Edomites are, man. Okay? And your wickedness is recorded in the scriptures, is recorded in history. Okay, and there's a judgment coming for you, Edomites, man. The real usual suspects. So when you go from there, let's get this because we go to Genesis. Let's go to 25. Because Jake and their natural mistake is nowhere near. You see, these niggas, so the culture of our people, and you look at niggas today, man, like I say, it's a byproduct of Esau Edom. Okay? A nigga is the nigga and the nigga woman, which they call themselves young niggas and young hoes nowadays, okay, is a social experiment of Esau Edom. You see? He fabricated what a nigga is today. You say he engineered what A young hoe is a hot girl, whatever. He engineered that, okay, through behavior modification, man. Through the music, okay, through poison food, okay, rewarding wickedness, movies, okay, media, social media. You see, he engineered the niggas that everybody hate today, man. The welfare queen. Wait a minute. Well, where does the welfare come from? Okay, yeah, the nigga woman goddamn worsen on social media. All the snacks in the camera eating, and talking about her $2,000 she get. Yeah, it's annoying. Okay, but where does that come from? Okay, where does the welfare come from? Why is she getting all this welfare? Okay, why is it, you know, uh, 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 these women, are able to have welfare and hood? Okay, who created them systems? Okay, which gave the woman the leverage to say what she don't need the man. Okay, which created these, dysfunctional homes, single mother homes that breed nothing but inmates and young and more hoes. Who created that system? Who sat down and came up with that concept? Okay, so when you go into Genesis, because our people in their natural state are not like this. Because even though Jake didn't have the law back then, you go back to the early 1900s, you know, from like the early 19 teens to 1930s, 40s. What was Jake doing, man? Jake was creating thriving communities, man. Okay? Jake was professional. Jake was engineers, doctors, lawyers, printing presses. Okay? The Israelite woman was, the teachers, the nurses, you see, staying at home, keeping the house in order. Okay? And you had what? Thriving Jake communities, man. Jake had started their own economy. Segregated, man. So Jake even, they didn't have the full understanding of the truth, man. Jake in their natural state, okay, is superior than you Edomites, man. And Jake was a peaceful people. Jake wasn't going around starting wars. Jake wasn't trying to get vengeance for slavery. Jake just started doing their thing, man. It wasn't perfect. You still, but Jake was doing their thing. Jake was able to build because Jake was in a natural state. They wasn't enchanted by music. They wasn't enchanted by the drugs. They wasn't, integrated into this system that turns them out. Okay? So when you go to Genesis 25 and 22, it says, and the children struggled together within her. Now this is, all right, Rebecca dealing with the birth of Jacob and Esau. She's pregnant. Matter of fact, I started 21. It said, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated, and Rebecca, his wife, conceived. She became pregnant. And the children, all right, the twins she was pregnant with, struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. And these children, Jacob and Esau, that's in Rebecca's womb, okay, these children, all right, are rivals, all right, because they have two different natures. Esau being the wicked and Jacob being the righteous. Okay? So they're built to be at odds, these two nations of people. And it says, and the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. Okay? That's a future prophecy which is going to play out now, which Esau is the elder. He's getting ready to go in captivity to the younger, which is Jacob. Okay? But the point is, it was two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. Okay? Because Jacob has a nature and Esau has a nature. Okay? And when you go into Sirach 33, it goes more into those natures. Let's go here to Sirach 33. It goes more into their nature. Let's get Sirach 33, start at like 10. That's Sirach. Are from the ground, and Adam was created of earth. Okay, so you can go back to Adam, and all the lineage of the earth, come from Adam. Okay, all the different nations that we see on the earth, yeah, they come of Adam. Okay, but of Adam, okay, you have the chosen lineage, okay, which are Israelites, because eventually, for Noah being a descendant of Adam, okay, and through his sons, Japheth, Ham, and Shem, the earth was repopulated, and through Shem, you will have the chosen line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, which would be the progenitors of the Israelites. It says, in much knowledge, the Lord had divided them and made their ways diverse. Yeah, different manners. Okay, made their ways diverse. You see, it says, some of them have he blessed and exalted, and some of them have he sanctified and set near himself, which is Jacob. But some of them have he cursed and brought low and turned them out of their places, as the clay, all right, which is Esau, man. And we come to the time now where the Lord, we're finna see the curse that's upon Esau, because Esau, even though we're under the curses as a people, Esau is the cursed people. Okay, that's why the scripture say that a sword shall come down upon Idumea, those newts, until the people of my curse unto judgment. Which is speaking of Edomites, man. It said, as the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it at his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him to render to them as liking him best. Yeah, so as the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion it, well, the Lord fashioned Esau a particular way, and he fashioned Jacob a particular way, man. And when you look at Esau, man, he's a usual suspect when it comes, all right, to war, when it comes to stealing resources, okay, when it comes to PDF files, when it comes to Satanism, okay, rebelling against the Most High, he's the usual suspect. When it comes to destroying creation, he's the usual suspect. Okay, you want to know why you got forever chemicals in your bloodstream? Well, he's the usual suspect. You see, you want to know why, all right, cancer is going up. He's the usual suspect, because that's how he's fashioned. You want to know why suicide rates are going up? He's the usual suspect. Okay? You want to go to, okay, why did they have, this earthquake here, and, why is this and why, he's the usual suspect, man, when it comes to the devastation of the planet Earth, man. It's this nigga, man. You see? It says, as the clay is in the potter's hand, as the clay is in the potter's hand to fashion at his pleasure, so man is in the hand of him that made him to render to them as liking him best. Okay? So verse 14, and Esau is the way he is for a purpose, man. He's a nation that the Lord used to punish us for our disobedience. And he's a nation that the Lord is going to use to judge in these latter days before he's removed from power. And he's punished, man. Okay? And Esau's rulership, all right, is going to make us appreciate righteousness. Is making us appreciate righteousness, okay, forever, man. We're going to forever be appreciative of a righteous kingdom, of a righteous setup, of a clean earth, of clean water, okay, food with nutrients, and we're going to be the simple thing, man. Esau is making us appreciate the simple things of the Lord's goodness, man. This wicked rulership, a woman that's in order, a woman that's actually your woman, a woman that's not jacked up by, okay, the society of Esau, man. You see, you're gonna appreciate that, man. You see? So, verse 14, it says, good is set against evil and life against death. Okay, and who's death? Esau. Okay, so is the godly against the sinner and the sinner against the godly. And it's been this ongoing rivalry between Jacob and Esau. You know, and that's why Esau created our people. When you go into nigger culture, Esau created a culture for our people to destroy themselves because he's the enemy. You know, and then he made it to where it's a constant scapegoat to where he can always point at niggas and say, they're a problem. Okay? But meanwhile, his wickedness, you see, is gone, you know, untalked about. Okay? He can always, when it get hot on him, he can give you a P. Diddy. Okay? R. Kelly. You see, the hell with them wicked niggas, man. You see? But he created niggas to be a lesser evil, you know, that he can prop up and say, look, this is the problem. They're the problem of the earth. The inflation is because of immigrants. See, you got inflation because of immigrants. The job market messed up because of immigrants. Okay? Because of illegals. You see, crime is up because he's, you know, the cartel is here. You know, all this BS, he's able to throw these narratives out, man. But this nigga was created to be death, man. The scriptures say the Lord gave this nigga the power to take peace from the earth. You know? And he's doing a hell of a job, man. You see, but he's made niggas as the face of the problem, of the world problems is niggas and the welfare point. Which they are all byproducts of Esau, man. So let's I want to play this video, quick video. Let's go here, let's play this. All right, which he's gonna go into it.
You know, as a white man, I don't understand what's so hard for so many white people to understand that it's always been the white man. It was the white man in the Atlantic slave trade. It was the white man who committed genocide to the indigenous people here. It was the white man who killed millions and millions of people in the Holocaust. It was the white man who massacred millions of people in Congo. It was the white man in the frontier wars in Australia who massacred Aboriginist Australians. It was the white man whose government forced the natives to relocate, causing thousands to die on the Trail of Tears. It was the white man in the Philippines who massacred thousands of civilians. What is so hard to accept about that? Because today it's the white man and the white supremacist marching around DC. It's the white man lying about a group of Haitians who hurt no one. They go to work and go home. It's the white man dressed in ICE outfits, murdering immigrants, murdering citizens. It's always been the white man. And yet you think and walk around this country like it's undocumented immigrants. All of a sudden, that's the problem. Undocumented immigrants committed 17 murders out of over 17,000. But that's the problem. And yet, when one of those 17 get murdered, our fucking white government will go as far as to pass a bill and name it after the person that got murdered and forget about the thousands the thousands of minorities that get murdered. That doesn't matter. It's whatever fits the white narrative. And you people are so stupid, you follow it. You're so ignorant that you don't want to change. It's always been the white man. And it's the white man today.
Goddamn right. You know, it's always been Esau, and it's Esau today. All throughout history, it's always been him. You know, because even like, you know, let's say, if I'm reading history, even listen to a documentary or something, and I can tell when it's a Edomite. You know, you can tell by what they're doing, how they're moving. This is a Edomite. And certain times you can tell, oh, these are Jakes. Because even before I knew, you know, Marcus Aurelius, you know, was Jakes, I knew that they acted different. I said Marcus Aurelius. Just studying history, I was like Marcus Aurelius act different than, you know, Julius and Tiberius and, you know, Nero. Like he act different from them. You know, like he has some type of integrity, some type of structure, humility. Like he different from them. You know, them goddamn psychopaths. You know, Caligula. You know, you go into them niggas, man. Okay, there's another thing, man. These certain leaders that they hype up, man. You go into them Caesar, man. Them Caesar was some low lives, man. You see, them niggas were low lives, man. They're talking about dealing with like, you know, bestiality, little boys, and you know, dressing them up as girls. Like them niggas was sickos, man. But he's the usual suspect when it comes to that type of behavior, man. Let's get to the word usual suspect. But yeah, just studying history, certain characters you can tell like these straight Edomite. Then certain characters you can tell Jake didn't, you know, Jake wasn't perfect. But you can tell when you see, okay, this might be, you know, and then you come out later, you know, learn from the apostles and elders, you know, that coming as I'm coming into the truth, like, oh, them was Jakes. It makes sense now. You know, like I say, certain leaders that you study and you like, okay, they different from these groups. Then you find out, okay, them Jakes, you know, but then when it comes to Esau, it's the same wickedness, nastiness, you know, they boy lovers, all these niggas that's in leadership, man. Of Esau, man, it's like it's just in them, you know, to just be these weirdo, sicko niggas, man. You see, it says the usual suspects, and the phrase the usual suspect is an idiom used to describe a predictable group of people. Okay, now are niggas a predictable group of people? When you see a congregation of niggas, okay, the nigga woman, then you hear some music and he's like, oh, anything can happen. Yes. Okay. But what about when you see Esau having to sit down with your government? Okay. And if the sit down don't go good, now your leader, okay, is a tyrant. Okay. So you got the propaganda. So we know after the propaganda, then comes a false flag, and then comes the troops, then comes the destruction. So niggas have a predictable program, okay, to shoot up the parking lot. But Esau has a predictable system where he's finna come and destroy a nation and take his resources. Okay? It says the phrase the usual suspect is an idiom used to describe a predictable group of people, things, or factors that are typically expected to be present, involved, or blamed in a particular situation, man. Okay? What about those Catholic priests? Okay, and the you know, the PDF file behavior with them. You see, children being okay touched on in these churches. Well, what's the first thing you think about? The Edomite Catholic priest, the usual suspect. Okay, you see a nation that's wealthy in resources, but their people are impoverished. Well, who do you think about is the reason? Esau, Edom, the usual suspect. Okay? So there's no one that's more of a usual suspect on the higher level than Esau, Edom. Like I say, Jake bring down the property value, but Esau stopped the earth from functioning properly, man. Major difference. You see, it's a major difference, man. Let's go into it. Let's go here to Revelation. All right, chapter 6. Okay, you can't smell the earth anymore. You don't smell the pine tree. Grass used to have a smell. Rain used to have a smell. Okay. And even with the fast food, you used to be able to smell the fast food when the food was more authentic. Okay. This nigga to remove the smell from the earth, man. I'm just speaking for over in America. Okay. As far as I know, you see. Revelation 6:4 says, and there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And this is Esau, Edom in his power. You know, this is Esau within his power structure. You know, the horse represents power. Okay, the red horse, the red going back to Edom, which means red. Okay, so it's Esau in his power. Okay, and what does he do within his power? He takes peace from the earth, man. Okay, who has the ability to carpet bomb people, do hundreds of airstrikes in a month on one nation, a defenseless nation, just airstrikes on villages, schools, weddings, marketplaces. Who's doing that? You see, put a blockade on you and embargo on you where you can't get nothing shipped in. He just parked his navy outside your borders where nothing can ship in. You can't ship nothing out, man. Okay. Yemen, you look at the starvation in Yemen. Here it is. The Houthi rebels are these wild, radical extremists. But then wait a minute. Then you starve them out for 2 decades. Okay. Then you set up. Then the American, NATO, and EU set up a blockade that starved Yemen out for 2 decades because they didn't want to be pro-West. Okay. And it's so much, because just like he was just naming different things, you can just go on and naming this nigga's wickedness, man. This nigga has done so much. All right. It says that they should kill one another, and there was given unto him a great sword. Yeah, this sword, man. Military, man. And he's turned everything to a sword. He's weaponized this thing too. The devil has weaponized everything, man. You know? Things that was intended for good, this man has weaponized, man. You know, from the foods, and the scripture say, man give a wife, he gives a good thing. But in his society, man, you get a wife, you get a nightmare, man. Okay? This man has turned, the basic things that the Most High set up to for life, he has turned into a weapon. Children are supposed to be an asset, not a liability. But in his system, they're a liability, man. Okay? So any problem that you can think of, it's a route that goes back to Esau, Edom, man. Okay? The so-called white man, the problem of the earth, man. You see? When you go here to Isaiah 24. Isaiah 24:4, it said, the earth mourneth and faded away, the world languisheth and faded away. The haughty people of the earth do languish. The earth is also defiled under the inhabitants thereof, under the rulership of whom Esau, because they have transgressed the law. Because who has the power to implement, laws? Who has the power to make change instantly in the earth? Esau, Edom. So under his rulership, because they have transgressed the laws and changed the ordinance and broken the everlasting covenant, the earth, all right, therefore hath the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell in are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. Okay? So this nigga's wicked rulership has led to the earth being defiled. Okay? Everything being tainted. Everything, the earth is poisoned, the earth is sick, climate thrown off, natural disasters, all over the place. Okay? Family structure is ruined, especially in America. It's just out of there. Okay? The concept of family is just out of there, man. You see? So the curse is devouring the earth. And it's Esau. He's the plague that's devouring the earth. And the way to get rid of the Lord has to bring great destruction, man. Which is going to leave a few men left, man. This is nuclear war and the return of Yahushua with those chariots, man. It's going to leave a few men left, man. Okay? That's where it's gotten to under the rulership of Esau, man. Okay? So when we talk about the usual suspects, okay, but we got to talk about Esau first. And then we'll deal with then we deal with the byproducts. Okay? Which are niggas, the modern woman. Okay? You got such thing as people, what you call people are obese but malnourished. Okay, here it is, the food is not breaking down in them, so they're fat, bad built, but they're malnourished. Okay? Only in this nigga kingdom, man. There's so much more, we can get into, man, but I'll leave it there. Lord will you, brothers. All right, and you few sisters edified till next time. I say shalom, Kwam Yashala, Abba soon, shalom.